Come ride the little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petticoat Junction.
Joe, I hope you're not messing things up around here.
Of course not. Boy, us geniuses have a time with you women. History records that Mrs. Fulton was always saying, "Now, Robert, quit messing up the front room."
Well, if that's where he was building his steamboat, you can't blame her.
Is that what he come up with? Guess I owe her an apology.
Remember that the next time you see her. What time are the kids due back?
Another couple hours.
That long?
They flew all the way to Springdale.
Yeah, I know. I just heard on the weather report that we can expect thunder and lightning storms.
You still pay attention to that yahoo. He ain't been right since we moved here.
You were playing in all this.
I'm not sure, but I thought...
Oh, be quiet. How can anybody hear anything?
That's another plus for this two-way radio. When Steve gets back with his unit, we can contact him.
I just hope and pray that Steve and Betty Joe aren't even close to this.
Are you all right?
Mom, I think it stopped. It has. It's them. I can't see the plane, but I can hear it. Come on, girls, get something warm to put on.
You know, you're something else.
You're not so bad yourself.
Remember when I indicated for us to go down?
Uh-huh.
Oh, was I glad you said no.
Why?
No place to land.
Steve! Betty Joe! Oh, Betty Joe, you're all right. Oh,
Steve, were you scared? Did you know what you were letting yourself in for?
I knew you'd make it. The Carson Elliott Airways always comes through.
Well, what are we all standing here for? Let's go up to the Shady Rest and you can tell us all about it.
Gosh, Steve, what was the first thing you thought of when the storm hit?
The first thing? Well, I said to myself, I never knew it to fail. You get a worse job, and right away it starts raining.
There's a pilot for you, laughing in the face of danger.
On the outside. Inside, I was crying like a baby.
Steve. Hey, what about you, Betty Joe? Hmm? Well, wasn't what happened tonight just about the most exciting thing that ever happened to you?
Well, don't worry about the shortstop. She was terrific. And I told her so the moment we landed.
And then did you kiss the ground?
No, but that might not have been a bad idea.
You know, you kids' experiences remind me of my own days when I was flying the mail in the islands.
When you were flying the mail?
Well, you know me. Never wanted to talk about my experiences. There was this one time, though, when I got caught in a nut draft. It shot me up, 40, 50,000 feet. First thing I know, my wings started icing up, and I began losing elevation. Down, down I went. I knew I was a goner if I didn't think of something. Well, sir, right at the last minute, I spot a live volcano. Instantly, I put her into a glide, and I go down to within 3 feet of the molten lava. Well, naturally, the heat from the lava defrosts the ice off my wings. I regain my altitude and go on to deliver the mail. Oh, an interesting sidelight to the story. The ice from the wings put out the volcano and saved the village. Naturally, they made me a god. I could go on, but it would only take the edge off of your little adventure.
Betty Jo, you're awfully quiet. Do you feel all right?
I'm okay, Mom.
Yeah, but you had a kind of a trying day. Maybe you just better get upstairs and get to bed, huh?
Whatever you say. Good night, everybody. Good night,
Betty Jo.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, Betty Jo.
Good night, oh big bird.
Mom, do you have to go right now? I mean, do you have time for talk?
We'll always have time for that, honey.
I've got a problem.
I kind of thought you did. What is it?
Well, it concerns Steve and me.
What about Steve and you?
We're in love.
You're...
Oh, I know. You're just as surprised and shocked as I was. I mean, Steve being Billy Joe's boyfriend and all, but we couldn't help it. It just happened.
Wait a minute. Let's back up a little. When did it happen? Before you went to Springdale?
No.
On the way back?
I guess so. All I know is that when we landed, he took me in his arms and kissed me.
Well, that's an emotional reaction. You know, making it through the storm and all. Why, you were glad to be on the ground.
I don't think it was a glad to be on the ground kiss. Oh, maybe it started out that way, but then... Oh, Mom, I never felt that way before in my whole life. Nobody ever did.
Well, sweetheart, it isn't that unique. Wonderful, maybe, but not unique.
You mean it always happens like that? Bing, like that?
No, it doesn't always happen that way. But we're not entirely sure it happened.
Mom, you don't know how I feel.
What about Steve? How does he feel?
The same.
Did he say he did?
Well, no, but... I can tell.
You're sure?
Mom.
Honey, two people can react to the same situation in a different way.
What are you trying to tell me?
Well, you and Steve have been through a very exciting experience.
I'll say.
I mean, coming through the storm and all.
Oh.
And, when two people have such an exciting experience, it can bring them together.
I'll say.
For the moment.
You don't think Steve meant it? That he wasn't sincere?
I'm just saying that you are so grateful for coming through safely that this could easily trigger what happened.
Then you think I should forget it?
What I think is that you should, as the kids say, cool it. And for the moment, let's see if it's going to blow over. Because you might be reading a lot more into that kiss than Steve intended.
Gee, I don't know whether to feel happy or sad. On the one hand, I was feeling like the biggest stinker in the world for stealing Billy Joe's boyfriend. But on the other hand, well, I guess it won't hurt to sleep on it.
That's a good girl. Good night.
Good night, Mom. Thanks.